start a new project, and this is a guitar I've had for about a month. His name's Darren. He's a local musician here from St. Louis, and he's been very patiently waiting for me to finish all my other projects that I've had. Some charity auctions, and then we had a class on Saturday. Week class just finished up, so now it's Darren's turn. And this is his guitar, which I showed you previously. It's beautiful. He's assured me that I can take a shot at not screwing it up, and he's not going to be mad if I do. But it's got a really pretty mother of pearl border around the sound chamber and around the edge, which I'm going to try and preserve. So as I was thinking about doing some research on how to proceed with this, instead of taping off like I normally do and using the spray paint, the chalk spray paint, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to freehand this, so I'm not going to tape anything this time. And I went to Home Depot and I got a 60 grit sandpaper, which is pretty rough. It's about one of the grittiest that you can get. And I also got a sanding block, also pretty gritty, but it's angled so that I can get in here. So I'm just going to go through and rough up the finish with this and preserve the mother of pearl. And then I also did a lot of research on this. It's called Bullseye 123 Primer for All Surfaces. I also got that at Home Depot. And this says you don't even have to sand anything to, that it will adhere to any surface. But I'm gonna go ahead and just rough it up and try and get as much. I don't wanna ruin and get down into the wood. I don't want that look for this one. And I'm gonna actually be freehanding this. And so I think what I'm gonna do, since it's extremely boring, is I'm gonna try and put it on time lapse. Like while I'm out in the garage sanding, and it's raining today, of course, right on cue. So I'm gonna have to go set up in the garage and do a little sanding by hand. And so I think I'm gonna do a time lapse and show you. And then as I'm sketching this thing out, I'm just gonna print out the picture that he sent me. And I have it posted on my Instagram a couple posts back, the one that he wanted. And I'm just gonna sit and draw it just like I would on my art pad, because there's no sense in trying to draw it on something and transferring it over and all that. This one's a lot more complicated. So I'm just gonna freehand it and just see how it goes. I've never done that. Like, I'm gonna do this. So it'll be experience for us all, but I think it's gonna be really cool. So I'm gonna turn this off, and then I'm gonna go put on my safety goggles, and I'm gonna put on safety equipment, and I'm gonna go sand. So follow me into the garage. Welcome to the garage. It's raining. You can probably hear the rain out there. So what I've done, and I'm sure by now you've seen my time lapse, my very first time lapse and my first slow-mo videos. And so I decided to start with the sand block, which is angled and did pretty well. You can see it's just a naked guitar now, and I was able to steer clear of the, I think it's abalone. Is that mother of pearl, or is that abalone? That's like every abalone thing I've ever seen, but whatever it is, you can see I was able to salvage that, so we can have that in the finished product. So I just went around it with this. This worked pretty good. This is a coarser grit, was the 60 grit, and I didn't like that as much because well, first of all, I don't have a block to put it on. So I just tore off some little pieces, but unless you get it super flat, you're gonna dig into it, and then it's gonna be uneven. So then I had to go back over. So on part of it, I did do this, like on the big areas, just to go a little bit faster. And I just sanded it off, and then I went back over it with the block, just to smooth it out. And it did pretty well. This is the first time I haven't had to bother Chris to sand a guitar for me, so I'm sure he's gonna be thrilled if this really works. So it is ready to go, and I'm gonna go in and prep it with the primer that I got. That primer that I got was about $11 at Home Depot, and it says that you don't even need to sand it. They can adhere to any surface without sanding. It says it right on the front, so it must be a thing. But I think any kind of paint or any kind of primer, anything, would adhere to it better with a little bit of sanding, just to get that shiny coat off, and less chance of it scratching or denting, once you get the finished product, because you don't have so many layers on there. So I think it's a good call. It looks great. I haven't ruined it yet, so I'm super excited that we got through day one without me ruining it. Stay tuned for day 2. You're coming around. mice. I keep my bird feed out there, and anyway. So we have got everything sanded down nicely. Looks beautiful, and everything, I think it's perfect. So what we're gonna do now is gonna go in with the Zinsser Bullseye 123, and it looks like this. This is the primer. Odorless, that's good, and it's also, you clean it up with water, soap and water, so that's a plus for me. So I'm gonna go around, I've got the two brushes, an angled brush and just a regular flat brush that I can make good time with, and I'm gonna turn this off and do the time lapse again because I thought that was pretty fun. And that took about an hour. What you saw in time lapse was about an hour worth of sanding that you can do in 30 seconds. So that will make this go by way faster and seem a lot more exciting and jerky, and like I have a lot more energy. So I'm gonna do that, and then it'll be primed and ready to go. It takes about 30 minutes for this to dry, and I'm gonna put 2 coats on it, and then you can work with a top coat or drawing or whatever within an hour, it says. And then it says it completely hardens up after 7 days. But I can go ahead and work with it. I'm not gonna do any more tonight, but I'm gonna start on it tomorrow. I'm gonna sketch it out on there tomorrow and probably start painting too. So very exciting times.
Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Morning comes and you know that you wanna stay. Close the blinds, let's pretend that the time has changed.
The primer is done, and it worked great. It dries super fast, so the working time, I don't know, about 30 minutes. It dried pretty quickly, and it's got a very chalky finish to it. I'm gonna just let it dry about 10 minutes, and I'm gonna go back in and put another coat on it, because right now you can see through it. I think it, yeah, I'm trying to preserve that mother of pearl abalone border, and I did it. I just went right up to it, and I'm really good. I don't know how you would take that off. And so if you're not really good at straight lines and curves and keeping right on there just with freehand, I would avoid that. But I'm good at it. I think it worked great. You can still see the shine in there, and it's gonna look good. I'm gonna incorporate it into the final design. And what else? You can clean it up with soap and water. If you got some on the border, I just wiped it off immediately, but it dries really fast. So anyway, it's got that nice chalky finish. I'm gonna do one more coat of this, and then tomorrow will be the design. Looks good. Very different, huh?